Alrighty then, guys. As I'm perusing through X, I see that Alex Phillips has put out quite a lengthy post. Yeah, this Alex Phillips.
They would rather become tribal about their party and their brand rather than just look at the blimmin' polling, look at the statistics, look at the policies on offer and go, this is the cleanest, easiest, best route to where we need to end up. This is what the country needs. This is the right medicine to prescribe. And they just play games. This is why our politics is broken. This is why we're in a mess. The constant revolving door of prime ministers without any democratic recourse, quite frankly, because the only people who get to decide whether Andy Burnham becomes our prime minister is the constituents of Makerfield. The rest of us don't have a say in that. No. We don't have any sort of, we don't even get to choose whether this stupid leadership contest goes on or not. This is what the Conservatives did. It's constant messing about parlour games instead of making policy and doing what's right for the country. And this venal, vainglorious, vile game playing that goes on and on and on every single time because there's a load of people running around feeling full of self-importance. Ha ha ha, I've got a cunning plan. Oh, look at all the WhatsApp messages. Oh, which faction are you in? Oh, I'm in this faction, but I'm more than that faction. All of this nonsense. Running around thinking they're in like a dramatisation of the West Wing while Rome burns. Yeah. And I'm fed up with it. Yeah. I'm fed up with a lot of them. I'm angry as anything this morning. Because all of these people who are doing it for their egos and their sense of self-importance and their 5 minutes of fame or they're feeling powerful, ha-ha, my little plot worked. All of those people who sit there getting a kick out of scheming, manipulating, gaslighting. Yeah, all of those people are the reason why this country is heading down a sinkhole at a rate of knots. If we just have people shut up, talk about what the country needs, work together to get the right person into power, and then act.
Oh dear, she's always on one. Right, what I want to do is I want to go through this post with you and we'll see what she has to say. I haven't really been through this, I just caught a glimpse of it. So it's new to me as it is to you. Right. How do we start? Who does it ultimately serve when Restore attacks reform, losing them support? Right. Is Restore attacking reform? Or are they just two political parties going for the same seat? I don't think Alex Phillips and Reform really knows what politics is. In the event Reform drop 5 to 7% in a general election due to Restore, they'd be forced into a coalition with the Tories to stop a socialist coalition. The report revealed a sophisticated bot operation. What, for Restore? Restore needs a bot operation, do they? Now, it's funny this because I just watched a video this morning. I can't remember who it was. Was it on the podcast of Lotus Eaters or was it something else?
Beau, Reform have employed bot farms.
Have they? I know people have said that for a while, but what is there actual evidence? Slam dunk evidence is there? Is it like definitely?
It's looking pretty undeniable, to be honest.
Okay.
Thought we'd just have a look.
Okay.
It looks pretty undeniable at this point in time. So all alleged, but it is looking pretty much like a slam dunk.
Okay.
So yeah, this has been popping up for a little while now, but there's just more and more evidence, like pretty much overwhelming evidence. Reform UK appear to be using bot farms located in the Philippines and also Ecuador as well, which we'll get to.
Okay.
To influence the Maker by-election. Is there anything they won't sync to? This comes after Braverman and Tice retweeted an account which published lies about Restore support earlier in the week. Also, have you noticed Richard Tice has turned his replies off like a little fucking bitch?
That was a video I just literally watched this morning, but let's have a look at this report. Analysed online conversations on X surrounding UK political figures Z. Youssef and Rupert Lowe and uncovered coordinated bot networks discrediting Z. Youssef while amplifying support for Rupert Lowe, shaping party narratives and manipulating public perception. Sarah Brett uncovered that 39% of the profiles commenting on Lowe's content were fake and part of a coordinated campaign promoting its official X account. those fake profiles have also successfully infiltrated authentic audiences by engaging with others who commented on Rupert Lowe's post. Simultaneously, another fake campaign targeted Z Yusuf and their targeted attacks and the potential to reach an estimated 474,000 views. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call bullshit on this, but for the hell of it, I will download the full report and I will peruse that at a later date. If you don't mind, because I don't fancy going through all of this right now. But I will go through that. So I will make another video on that in the coming days. So far, I'm going to call bullshit on that. But we did have reports this morning of Reform UK actually being accused of botting. So pot, kettle, and all of that. Who has the money and motive to do such a thing? This is the thing. She keeps on attacking Rupert Lowe's. He's a millionaire. And she did this the other day about this article she was going to release, but didn't release because she'd be taken through the courts and she couldn't afford to deal with it. Look, Rupert Lowe has got a net worth of what, 30 million, right? You have Nigel Farage, who has a good stake in GB News. Judging by the favouritism for Nigel Farage, it's quite a bit of ownership of GB News. And I'm sure he's got some ties to Talk TV as well, because Talk TV are literally losing their shit over this Makerfield by-election. Nigel Farage is not short of a few bob. If you need help with legal costs, I'm sure he's got guys who donate him £5 million just for the hell of it. So I'm sure if you need extra money for legal costs, that Nigel Farage should be able to get hold of it for you. So I wouldn't worry about it. Just print your article or whatever it is, and or is this the article here? Am I going to say something juicy in this? Around the same time, Rupert and I had a long phone call. He told me that the Tories were desperately courting him, or seemingly them. You can smell the desperation. I'm not even a quarter way through this post yet. This was not a secret. Read it for yourself. It suggests he will work for the Tories. Right, this is from The Sun, so no, I'm not going to pay to reject. You know, for this one time, accept. I fucking hate doing this. Secret talks. Tories tried to poach suspended Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe. Mr. Lowe says he's not ruling anything out. So, essentially, he was approached by the Tories after he dropped from Reform UK. Now, one thing you have to realise, he's ran as an independent since then. So if there was a link or coalition or anything like that with the Tories, why didn't he join them when he had the chance? Just a simple question, why didn't he? Suspended Reform MP Rupert Lowe has had secret talks about joining the Tories. The Sun on Sunday can reveal. Oh, that's very gracious of you, Sun on Sunday. Multiple Conservative MPs have called and messaged the Great Yarmouth MP since his almighty fallout with Nigel Farage, and he has had 2 in-person meetings with senior Tory MPs. Now, what date was this? This was from the 22nd of March, 2025. So we're over a year. Why didn't he join the Tories? I'm not reading the full article. How long is the article? Yeah, we can do, actually. Some suggested the former chairman of Southampton Football Club join their party or work with them. A source said Mr. Lowe was not ruling anything out. They said Reform massively underestimated Rupert's support in the country. The Tories aren't making the same mistake. All options are on the table. Rupert is focused on clearing his name with the police. That is his sole priority at the moment. Mr. Lowe recently praised senior Tory MP Robert Jenrick. Now, I've already heard that. The source says Mr. Lowe wants radical change, adding there will be a credible political alternative for decent British people to support, which Rupert will be a big part of. This week, Mr. Lowe praised Tory Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick, who called for the end of mass immigration. He replied to Mr. Jenrick on X, a post full of desperately needed honesty. Robert, I couldn't agree more. Mr. Lowe's fallout with Reform kicked off when he called Mr Farage messianic in an interview. Reform UK announced they had referred Mr Lowe to the police and suspended him over claims he threatened party chairman Z. Yusuf with physical violence. The Met launched an investigation into these claims, which Mr Lowe vehemently denies. He also faces claims of bullying against 2 female staff. Mr Farage has said there is no way back into reform for the suspended MP. Now, that's that story. That's a pretty non-story. But going back to this Robert Jenrick, we say that reform has stolen all the Tory MPs, all the questionable ones anyway, from bench and all these failed ministers. And then we hear all the time, well, Rupert Lowe praised Robert Jenrick. When Robert Jenrick called for the end of mass immigration, that is when Rupert Lowe took to X and commended him. So, you know, the whole restore, Rupert Lowe, reform, talk TV and all the likes, it's nonsense. They grabbing at straws. You know, it's a case of chucking so much shit at a wall and hoping that something sticks. But let's head back to the unhinged Alex. I have no idea who at the same time told Elon Musk that Farage should be replaced by Lowe. This is the final missing piece of the puzzle. The final missing piece of the puzzle, you say? What puzzle's that, Alex? Are you okay? Do you need some help? Alex, take some time off. Get yourself in the sun. Just take a holiday. By the time you come back, make a field of view over. It'll all be like a bad dream. Now, back in 2019, when we were MEPs and Boris called for the election, Lowe collaborated on a list with the Tories called Men and Measures with Dougie Smith. It was a list of promising pedigrees, knighthoods and positions to Brexit Party candidates to stand down. My colleague, Robert Rowland, blew the whistle to me. I called it out on Question Time and handed the file to the Met Police. So let's look at this.
Tactical voting, just cheating the electorate.
Well, there's been quite a bit of that going on in this election, and I have to say more than I can ever remember in the time I've been covering politics. Alex?
Oh, wow. Well, this is the question I've been looking forward to, because actually, do you know what, Simon? I think pacts are such a disappointment. I think that every voter in this country should be able to have their first choice of candidates, and that parties should campaign on merit, on policies, not on blackmail, not on fear.
So you must be very unhappy with your leader, then?
I'm very disappointed in what's happened, but I want to give
You're very disappointed with Nigel Farage?
No, I'm not disappointed with Nigel. I'm disappointed in the situation he's found himself in, which I think is a result of this ongoing duopoly. And I want to make very clear tonight that what we have witnessed in the last few weeks, and actually today especially, this key moment in the electoral cycle, when we're supposed to be sending forth candidates to meet a deadline and say they're standing in this constituency, there has been an operation coming out of CCHQ, coming out of 10 Downing Street. What is under the Tory tree this Christmas? Is it a peerage? Is it penance? Have you been naughty or have you been nice? They have been interfering in our selection of candidates, our placing of candidates. They've been incentivizing people to step down. It has been interference on an industrial scale. They have been acting like feudal overlords, frankly. They think that suffrage is something that's universal if it just applies to their party. What are they afraid of? That they have had to go after thousands of phone calls to individual candidates in the Brexit Party to say, stand down, you can get this, or stand down or this. Leave us alone. If you can't win on your own merits, then really, you shouldn't be a chairman of a party in this country. Go to Venezuela. This is a multi-party state, and you guys have to get used to that.
Well, we certainly got going, haven't we? James, would you care to respond to Alex?
I don't agree with electoral pacts, which is why we, as the Conservative Party, haven't done one. We put candidates across the country. We are a party that campaigns in all parts of the United Kingdom.
But hang on, that's not what Alex is talking about. What Alex is talking about is a reference...
that was asked.
Well, Alex has made some very... Well, I'd say pretty serious allegations about the Conservative
Party. And completely unfounded.
Okay, so you're saying that what Alex is saying, and what Nigel Farage has talked today about, 8 candidates in particular being offered peerages by the Conservative Party is not true. Because you'd know.
I would know, and it hasn't happened. I mean,
It's definitely not true.
So the point I've made, we have not made, and we do not make deals with other political parties. We have stood candidates in every part of the United Kingdom. We have been asked to make election pacts, but I'm very much of the belief that political parties should put forward an agenda against which they are judged. The only pact that we have made is with the British people, and it's that if they return a majority Conservative government, we will put the Brexit deal the Prime Minister has negotiated to Parliament as soon as we get back. We will get out of the European Union by the 31st of January, and then we will deliver on the priorities of the British people. That's the deal that we have made, and the deal is with the British people, and that is the only deal that we're going to do.
Right, I'll be honest, I think I've heard enough of that now. So unsubstantiated, and obviously you called it out on Question Time and handed the files to the police. What was the outcome? Did the police find any wrongdoings, or is it just speculation, accusation? You know, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying if you're putting these things down as claims, and it's all right for you to call out and promote your Question Time appearance, because that's what this is about for you, Alex. You just want to get into number 10. You want to place on that bench. And that's why you're so worried. But what I'm saying is you've just called something out. You've promoted your Question Time appearance, and it didn't do anything. It didn't clarify anything. It just had you putting a claim out. You know, if you're going to come with something so serious to degrade somebody and attack them politically and in a lot of cases personally, then bring evidence. And obviously, if you had the evidence, why hasn't the police acted? Anyway, Lowe became the first Brexit Party candidate to step down in Dudley North just before nominations closed and Farage was due to do a big event there. Okay. All right, boost for Tories as Brexit Party candidate pulls out of key Labour marginal. A Brexit Party candidate in a key Labour marginal has dramatically stood down in order to improve the chances of the Conservatives winning the seat. In a major boost for Boris Johnson, Rupert Lowe announced he would no longer be running in Dudley North just minutes after the close of nominations. He said he was putting country before party. It is highly conceivable that my candidacy could allow Corbyn's momentum candidate to win. Ian Austin retained the seat for Labour by just 22 votes at the 2017 general election. The former minister has since quit the party and last week urged voters to back the Tories. Announcing his decision to pull out of the seat, Mr. Lowe, a former chairman of Southampton Football Club, said, "I believe that if the Labour Party were to be elected in the forthcoming election, Jeremy Corbyn and John McDonnell, with momentum behind them, will devastate Britain and destroy all the decent people have achieved through their hard work and enterprise. His decision increases the chances of the Conservatives winning the seat for the first time." The announcement is a blow for the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage, who had insisted that they would contest every Labour-held seat in the country and is due to speak in Dudley on Friday morning. Mr. Farage has already performed a huge U-turn by announcing his party would not stand in the 317 seats the Tories won in 2017, having previously insisted they would run in every seat in England and Wales. Now, for this, I don't know, right, what was the outcome of this anyway? That's what I'm looking for. So Ian Austin retained the seat for Labour anyway, so the Tories didn't get it. I don't know why he stood down. I don't know. Ask Rupert Lowe. These are questions I'm sure he will answer, as long as you don't cast aspersions on his character while doing so. Ask in a normal manner. Ask yourself today, does Lowe criticise the Tories or just attack reform? He's criticised the Tories. He stated, unlike reform, he wouldn't be taking failed ministers. And he did mention Tory at some point. Yeah, so Rupert Lowe has criticised the Tories in the past. He criticised them for moving too far left. You know, and he keeps on saying they're not proper Tories, as in the old Tories. So, yeah, he has criticised them. Is Restore standing in Aberdeen South, where Tories are putting in loads of resources, or just Makerfield, where they only target Reform voters? Now, be going for Makerfield. If you haven't noticed, Alex, Restore are quite... They play in the long game when it comes to this because they want to make sure they get the job right. So they pick and choose there. They may feel they've got a good candidate in Rebecca Shepherd, and maybe they couldn't find one for Aberdeen. Either way, the point is, strategically, Makerfield is perfect. Because Restore haven't gone, same as the local elections, they didn't decide to go for every seat. This is what I mean by the long game, the tactical game. And Makerfield is in the eyes of everyone, so it makes sense that you would choose that to go for. Not to piss off Reform, but to get your brand out there. Because that's essentially the part of the game we're in. And you yourself and all of Reform keep on coming out and saying it's only a fringe number of online people that know who Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain are. They're not very well known. They're not very widespread. They're not very popular. So Makerfield, if that's how you really think of it, really puts Rupert Lowe and Restore in the public eye. So if you're criticising them for being unknown, they are getting themselves known. And on that note, while I'm on the unknown, I'm going to have a little aside here. I'm sick of hearing that Rupert Lowe is just an online candidate. You know, he's got all the support of people online, but in the real world, he's got none. Listen up. Listen right up. When I go out in the streets and I ask people who they want, I don't have many friends because I am quite political and I'm a one-track-minded individual. So I ask a lot of questions like this. Once over, the answer I got was Reform. Do you know what I get now, Alex? I get Rupert Lowe. I don't even get Restore Britain. I get Rupert Lowe. Maybe it's followed by Restore Britain, but it is always Rupert Lowe. 9 times out of 10, you know, Rupert Lowe is the one that comes back more than any other party. Now let that sink in. And on that case, mainstream media ignore Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. The oligarch-controlled mainstream media. The Farage-owned GB News failed to acknowledge Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, just the same as Talk Radio, the Farage fanboys. Now, the only time they will mention Restore Britain is 1, if they can't avoid it because they're prominent, in such as Makerfield, or 2, they invent something to slur them with. That is the only time that Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain get any coverage on mainstream media, Talk TV, or GB News. So the only avenue for Rupert Lowe is 1, you keep bragging he's so rich, he might just buy his own media company. Or he'll just keep doing what he's doing because it's worked. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure Nigel Farage built himself up by his online status. You know, look at the 2024 elections. Mainstream media barely touched him until he started climbing in the ranks and they started bringing him in now and then. And then later towards the elections, he was brought in more because Reform were becoming quite prominent. So it goes the same. You can't forget how one started and then criticize another party for starting in the position you were. You've got to understand that. You know, Nigel Farage come from UKIP. You know, so him building Reform UK was fairly easy because he was already known. He was known in a negative light with his past endeavours, shall we say. But he quickly turned that around and started playing up to the people to only let them down later on. This is the problem. You can blame other parties. You can blame Restore. You can blame the Conservatives. You can blame whoever you like. But it is only Reform that gained that momentum, walked back on their policies, and are wondering why they are losing momentum. If you create a policy and it really gives your party gusto and pushes you in the right direction, and then you walk back said policy and start playing up to exactly the opposite of what the people want, then it stands to reason you're going to lose momentum. So you should sit and think, maybe we're going in the wrong direction. Just an idea. And now, purely with the threat from Restore Britain, I am expecting in the next few weeks a whole new set of new policies by Reform. Very, very right-wing policies, if I'm honest. And I'm expecting them in the next couple of weeks. And I'm waiting. I'm just going to sit and watch and wait. Just so I can have me told you so moment. But what I want you to know is the people aren't stupid. The people have been bamboozled by politicians for so long. This is why Rupert Lowe matters. Because the people get bamboozled, and every politician, every party gives the people empty platitudes, false promises, only to get where they want to be and let the people down. Nothing ever materializes from said promises. This is why Rupert Lowe has got his following, because the people believe what he fights for, he is going to maintain. Because he is not just carrying himself and Restore into power. He is carrying the will and the voice of the people. This is what every other party promise. But put it down somewhere and forget to pick it up. Like it or not, the whole country over the past 2 years, because of Labour, has become very political very quickly. Now those people who don't normally vote are looking for someone who represents them. And they found that somebody. We hear about stealing votes all of the time. The majority of Restore Britain voters, backers, are people who didn't previously vote, but have looked and seen the state of their country and want to make a difference. That is what you overlook. You play the game of party politics. You play the game of following the leader. You play the game of let's just do a little bit better than they're already doing while they're in. You wonder why nothing works out. Because you have a vision. Your vision is a vision of trickery and greed. That's all it is. You talk about egomaniacs, about different factions. That is you. This is what you need to understand. But anyway, that was a long aside. I'm sorry. How come Tories are silent on extreme elements of Restore? The only party to be so. What extreme elements have Restore done? What extreme elements have we got? Are you going to play into the rhetoric of neo-nationalism, civic nationalism, and all the nationalisms and the isms all in all? Are you going to play that game? Are you really? When you've got Reform MPs or Reform councillors talking about melting down different races to fill potholes, if we're playing tit for tat, I'm sure that our list can be longer than yours. Tory peer Lord Agnew donated £20,000 to Law in 2025. Farage, £5 million for nothing, anybody? Oh, fucking BBC, no. I don't want to read any BBC articles. Sorry. Why did Kemi give Law a committee appointment? I really don't like reading BBC stuff. The Conservatives say they will hand ex-Reform MP Rupert Lowe a seat on the influential Commons Committee as he shares our values of cutting waste. The Great Yarmouth MP will take one of the 3 seats reserved for Tories on the Public Accounts Committee, which oversees government spending. Lowe was elected in 2024 as a Reform UK MP, but was thrown out in March after a major falling out with the party leader Nigel Farage and then Chairman Zia Youssef. The MP said he was delighted with the appointment. Yes, he's going to be delighted with the appointment. Why would he turn it down? Why would he turn that appointment down? Does taking that appointment mean that he's done something wrong? Does that mean he's something bad? Because I'll tell you why he took the appointment. One of his things, one of his bugbears, is the waste of this country. You offer him a seat on an oversight committee to do just what he has a bugbear against. He is not going to say no. It's logic. It's like, why does this country have to waste so much money? Do you want to sit on a committee where You can ask them that direct question and see where all the money's going. Oh, no, thanks. It'll look bad politically. Come on, get a grip. And this one, the 20,000 MP interest donations, NA value 20,000. What about all the foreign donors for Reform UK, which is the largest majority of their donation share? What about £5 million for, we still don't know why, because it was undeclared and he refused to say. What is it? He has no protection, so someone's paying for his protection. £5 million. Who's giving people £5 million for no reason? Now, this was the thing that really didn't bother me when I first heard about it. You know, I'm at the point where it's politics, isn't it? It's the same as Labour. Anybody, you know, the moment you get into Parliament, you go from working class, as they like to put it down as, to be multimillionaires. Angela Rayner is the perfect example, because out of all of the Labour MPs on the front bench, she is the only one who I can say is a true working class lass. She was a carer. Yeah. So about what? 30,000, 35,000 a year. Then she was a councillor for, I don't know how long, a couple of years, I think it was, or a year or two. And then she's been a front bench MP for 2 years. So her salaries range from 30,000 to 60, 70,000, and then up to around about 140,000 over the space of, let's say, 4 years as a councillor and that. And so she's coming up 2 runs of an MP's salary. So what, 280,000. Yet her current net worth is about 4.8 million. And this is a pattern that keeps on recurring in politics. You have seemingly normal earning people. You know, politics has generally been that spoon up the ass club, hasn't it? You know, it's very rare to find a career politician that's done a proper job, which is going to tell the country what they should do, how they should live. I've never agreed with that. Rupert Lowe might be rich, he might be a millionaire, but he's a normal man. He's not a career politician. £20,000 in donations in 2025. If you are going to throw stones at the opposition, make sure you are not standing in a glass house. Simple as that. Because you don't want to open up that can of worms. This may be all circumstantial, but it is clear Lowe still has close connections with the Tories, begged to be part of them, but instead decided to make a party to attack reform. He didn't become, because he was offered part of it, and yes, he might have thought about it at a time. As far as I'm aware, the old Tories, what he refers to, the proper Tories, he used to support. So if he's offered, he may think about it, obviously, but he didn't do it. He set up a party not to get back at reform. He created a party for the people, which is what he tried to push Nigel Farage into. But Nigel Farage did not like the direction where Rupert Lowe was trying to push him. Because Rupert Lowe was trying to push Nigel Farage where Nigel Farage was telling the people he was already at. So I suppose you could look at it that Nigel Farage is saying all this and Rupert Lowe's like, I'm on board with that. That's good. Oh no, Rupert, that's not what we're doing. We're just bamboozling the people, and then we're going to go back and we're going to stand some Muslim candidates and some Indian candidates and whatever candidates we can, and then we're going to go for the Muslim vote. Because that's what all politicians do. And I'm just assuming Rupert Lowe's like, well, that's not what I signed up for. I want it like this. This is how it's going to be. No, you can't have it like that, Rupert. Well, I'm going to tell the people, the people need to know. Right, in that case, you've just abused them 2 lasses over there, and what you're threatening Yusuf for, get out. In my head, that's how it went down. Simple as that. It's like, I put it black and white. I put it very binary, but yeah, that's how I imagine it going down. And that was it. Decided to attack Reform Politics home. What's this? Ex-Reform UK MP Rupert Lowe open to joining the Tories. Oh, for fuck's sake, Alex, change the fucking subject. I'm not even reading that. Yeah, no offence, I'm not reading any more things about the Tories. It's all nonsense. It's like I said, it's just throwing shit to see what sticks. Us throwing mud to see what sticks. Lowe met with Jenrick and 5 million. It's not the first time the pair left for, oh, fuck off. In fact, the party ultimately benefited from reducing reform support in the Tories. It's the only way they might be able to get close to the power by ensuring reform cannot form a majority government. To do that, they need a vehicle to go after Farage. Without a majority in Parliament, reform would not be able to do anything they have proposed, leaving the ECHR, deporting illegals and foreign criminals, cracking down on Islamism, overhauling immigration. The Lords, Commons, activist lawyers, civil service will try to block everything unless reform has a big enough majority to hold their nerve. If they're forced into a pact with the Tories to stop the hard-left coalition, it means everything would have to be passed by the Tories. The same bloody people would still be in power. The establishment wins yet again. I know some Restore fanatics are fooled into thinking reform is controlled opposition. I suspect the opposite is true. I write this not because I'm working for anyone, nor have an axe to grind, nor have gone mad, nor have I been promised anything, nor am I having a sordid affair. Right, I'm going to point something out because she knows this is coming. She absolutely knows it. I write this not because I'm working for anyone, nor have I an axe to grind. Do you not have an axe to grind, do you, Alex? Your recent performances on your shows, is that not grinding an axe? Because if these were just opinions, you would not get so het up. Nor have I gone mad. People are questioning your sanity right now. Nor have I been promised anything. Not even anything in Parliament in number 10. Nothing. Nor am I having a sordid affair. Well, that was the rhetoric going around before, wasn't it? I know the people involved and I know how politics works. I want my country to get the radical change it needs. Law stands in the way of that, and I suspect, not by accident, joining the dots above. Right. I don't know what dots she's joining. I don't know what picture she's trying to form. But I suspect that when you join all the dots, you don't have an image. You've just got wiggly lines as if someone scribbled on the page. I'm not seeing an image here. You know, I don't see any Tory alignment. Look at the facts for themselves. The only thing that makes me think, the only one I'm a little thinking about, because I don't know that far back, as why Rupert Lowe decided to stand down from his position. That's the only thing I can't reconcile in my head. Everything else is just circumstantial hearsay and nonsense. You've took something totally innate and made it an issue, you know? And I've got to be honest. I really do have to be honest. And I've said this in videos. This is not a surprise to anybody. But under Kemi Badenoch, I've sat and I've looked at reform and I've looked at the Tories, and I have found myself thinking, if push comes to shove and these are my two options, who would I vote for? And you know what? I did not know. Reform would probably get the vote. Do you know why? Because of Tories' history. That's it. Just because of the history. When it comes to the leaders, Farage against Badenoch, I've got to be honest, I would take Badenoch. Because you said Nigel Farage and reform are controlled opposition. I beg to differ. I do beg to differ. You will see that going back to when reform came on the scene, why? Explain to me why they promised the British people everything the British people wanted. Why, when they got that momentum, they walked it back and everything became a political impossibility? Why did everything become a political impossibility at that point? Why are you pandering to the British people to get momentum and then pandering to the minorities when you've got said momentum? The problem you've got now, Alex, and reform, is that you played the people off against each other, and it's come back and bit you in the arse, because now the vast majority of the population all switched to reform. All of them. And myself included, in the early days, was a lot of faith in reform. But there was always that little something. And do you know what that little something was? That little something was Nigel Farage. Now, I'm not saying Nigel Farage, I'm not saying he's a bad person. He might be a nice bloke, to be fair. But Nigel Farage has a very flighty history. And there is just something untrustworthy about the man. Or there is something untrustworthy about the role the man plays. I'll put it that way, because I don't want to cast aspersions on the person that is Nigel Farage. But so you got that momentum. You played the people, but you played the people off against each other. And what happened is a vast majority no longer felt confident in reform. They felt reform were letting them down. Whether Restore come onto the scene or not, the way reform was going, you were already splitting the vote with the Conservatives when push comes to shove. And trust me, if Restore Britain were not on the scene and we had an election, let's say it goes up to 2029 and we have the election as normal, I would dread to think how far left reform drifted. So come 2029, reform, I believe, would have drifted so far to the left that the vote splitting would have been with the Conservatives. The right-left divide would have been reform against the Conservatives. And only now, because they are threatened, because Restore Britain is on the scene, reform's momentum has slipped. It's slowing. But be honest, reform's momentum was slipping before Restore Britain become a party. Because I, like myself, you can go back. I think my videos on here, I transfer all them over because I lost my old channel. But I'm going back about 8-9 months ago when I didn't really know who Rupert Lowe was. But I seen him in Parliament. And I seen him standing up saying this, saying that. And I said from the start that I wanted to see Rupert Lowe and Ben Habib create a party. Then Ben Habib created Advanced UK. Now, I said, and I've always maintained, that I wanted Rupert Lowe in a party like Advanced UK. This was before Advanced UK and Restore Britain were a thing. I think it's before Restore Britain was even a movement. But you see, I see the individuals. See, when you look in Commons, when you look at Prime Minister's question times, whenever you're in these places, you look and you see a sea of self-serving hypocrites, you know, that act like children and spoilt brats. But every so often, you are drawn to a particular individual and you get a good vibe from these people. This is why I'm saying Rupert Lowe, I got that vibe from, but I get that same vibe when I watch Kemi Badenoch. Now, I don't know if it's because I know she's going to put Keir Starmer through the ringer, which she does. She's brilliant as opposition. And this is the only thing that makes me recoil from backing Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch, because every leader of every party is good in opposition. It's only when they get the keys to the country, the control, is when they fall apart. And it's always the same. So that is the only thing. But I get a good vibe from it. I got a good vibe from Rupert Lowe. There is very few people in Parliament that I can watch, and as the camera pans across, I get a vibe. I don't get that with many people. So I wanted Rupert Lowe to set up a party, and I said that long before Restore Britain was a thing. So, yeah, Restore Britain are not there to attack reform. And if reform is losing votes, is losing traction, is losing the will to carry on, then that is down to reform. Because remember, it is reform's decisions that put them where they are. It is reform's decisions that have them where they currently are. And it is reform's decisions that Restore Britain is opposition. Everything that's happening to reform is all a cause of reform's actions. Simple as that. Right, on that video went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. I apologize for that. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Good night.